Take a few minutes to walk you through formatting MLA citations. This video is going to focus on your works cited page, and then we'll do the in-text citations in a different video. But the first thing, we cite sources simply because we have to give credit to the sources that we used for doing our research. We're essentially giving credit where credit is due. And it also, just as a reminder, it also makes you as the author of this project, get to show that you've done the research, so you become a credible author in the process too. And there's different citation styles. MLA just happens to be the one we use in English. But the purpose of that is really because we have to have a collective understanding of here's the way we cite sources so that we all understand this is the source reference, this is the resource that we're using, and we have a standard way to format that so we're all on the same page. But there is different citation styles. A lot of you are going to end up using APA depending on your discipline, but because this is an English class, we use MLA. But the basics are going to be the same. The author, the title, a lot of the basic things are going to be the same, so it's not a lost tutorial. But for primary artifact number 2, I'm going to walk you through doing your works cited page, and then we'll work on the in-text citations. So here I've created a sample, a little sample essay on becoming a dog walker. I mean, it's just, I kind of threw together some paragraphs with some citations in them just to give you a model and a tutorial so we could walk through it, and I can show you how to do the process of working on your citations. So here you can see I have my little essay. Obviously it's not double spaced, but for this sample, we're just going to go with it. And you can see I left some space here for my in-text citations, which we'll go over later. But we're going to scroll down to the bottom, and here you can see I've got a works cited page with some sources on it. There's a couple of problems formatting wise with this, the way it looks right now. The first is there are 4 citations here, but it's difficult to tell which is what is going on because the source references are not formatted correctly. And so it's difficult for the reader to understand what's going on as far as the citations. The other thing is the in-text citations get built off of your works cited citations. So if your works cited citations aren't correct, your in-text citation, it's going to be difficult for you to build your in-text citations. So, and then the works cited page, a lot of times students like to just tack it on at the end of their essay, and really the works cited page goes on its own page. And there's a really easy way to do this. A lot of times students just want to hit the return key and go, oh, look, it's down here on the end of the page. But if you add something here, you can see how the works cited page, it gets moved around. And what happens when you save it and upload it is I'll get half a works cited page on one page and half of it on another page, or it's halfway down the page or something. It just messes up the pagination. So the easy thing to do is you have wherever your cursor is, everything after your cursor you want on the next page. So you just go up to insert, and you'll have to find wherever it is on your version of Word, but you insert a page break. Super easy, but if you don't know what you're looking for, you don't know how to find it. So you're just going to go insert page break. You click on that, and you can see it dropped everything that was after the cursor down to the next page. So, and this is what it should look like. You have your essay. This one, we haven't put the word count in yet, but you can still insert the word count or insert some more information, and you can see it doesn't move anything on the works cited page. So I'm going to take that out. So today, we're going to focus on this Works Cited page. So here we actually have 4 citations. These are 4 separate citations, but like I said, it's difficult to understand what's actually going on. So we have one here. This is a book. We have one here. We have one here, this YouTube video, and then this one is a source. But they're not formatted correctly, and so we need to do the work to format them. I'm going to pause for just a second here and say, if you're using sources from the library's website where it gave you the sources, the librarian showed you how to use that site to give you the citation for it, that's really fine. Just make sure that you do a little work to double check the formatting of your citation, because a lot of times those citation generators will add extra characters or put information in the wrong place, and it'll mess up your citation. But for this example, so I can walk you through how to find the information you need to cite your sources, these are 4 sources. I didn't get them from the library. I just got them off the web. And so I'm going to walk you through how to figure out how to cite them. And I'm going to insert some lines here just so we can tell what we have going on. Okay, so I'm going to start with this source mostly because I know most of you are going to be using sources from the web. And this is an article from the web, so it's going to be easier for you to see. It's going to be a sample that everybody's using. So I've already pulled up that website. So the first thing you do is just pull up the page that you are on. So you can see I used something this was part of my research. Here's a page, how to become a professional dog walker. There's a date there and everything. Okay. So how do we actually format the citation, the source citation for this? So the source that you're going to use is Purdue OWL. I highly recommend Purdue OWL. They keep it updated and walk you through how to cite your sources instead of just doing it for you, which doesn't really teach you how to work with sources. So if you just go to Google and type in, like I did here, type in Purdue OWL, this will pop up, and we are in MLA, so you're just going to click on the MLA Formatting and Style Guide. It will take you to a page that looks like this. And if you scroll down, you can see there's a lot of resources on this page. Ignore this. I think Citation Machine is paying for this placement, but if you type stuff in here, it's going to be all kinds of messed up. And I've had students that have had a lot of trouble figuring out what this is doing. So just ignore that. I suspect they're paying for the placement. So anyway, okay, so we're in the MLA. You can see over here on the left, we're under MLA style. There's a bunch of information about the basics about formatting in MLA that you can review. They go through a lot of different pieces one by one. And then you can see it's broken out into, here's stuff on in-text citations, endnotes, formatting quotations, and then there's this whole section you can see Works Cited page, cited page, cited page, cited. So if you click here, it gives you the basic format of a Works Cited citation, basic rules, capitalization, punctuation, what to do if there's no author, that kind of stuff. Basic information. And then it, excuse me, it breaks it into the type of source that you're using. So that's an important thing because the source citation is just a little bit different depending on the type of citation it is. So our source is a page on a website. So we're going to look down here, books, periodicals, electronic sources, and other common sources. So it's likely an electronic source. So you click on electronic sources, close the little pop-up windows, and just scroll down. You can read through some of this information, may help you kind of understand how the formatting works. And then they give you a very generic citation, and then you'll start seeing headers like this, citing an entire website, and then it goes into the specifics of citing an entire website. Here's a course or department website, and here is a page on a website. And then if you keep scrolling, here's an ebook, an image, an article on a web magazine, a scholarly journal, an article from an online database, an email, listserv or blog posting, a tweet, a YouTube video, comment on a website. So you can see you just have to scroll until you find the one that you're looking for. We're doing a page on a website. So it gives you a little bit of information about that, some general information, and then it gives you two samples, what it should look like. Here is one with an author, and here is what it looks like when there is no author. Now, MLA does not recognize staff or editors or the name of the organization as an author. So if there's no author, actual author listed on the source, you skip that piece because you don't have it, and you start with the title of whatever the source is. So we're going to go back to our source and take a look at it. I do not see, if you scroll down just a little bit, there's no author name listed here. So we are going to do, our source is going to be listed without an author. So it's going to look like this one. Okay? So what I typically like to do to make it easier on myself is I like to copy the sample over to my Word document so that I have it all in one place. So I'm just going to insert the sample here so I have it. Okay, we don't have an author, so right here we're going to start with the name of the page. I'm going to go back to my source. Here's the name of the page. How do you become a professional dog walker? And I'm just going to copy and paste that. We'll do the formatting later. So let's start here. Here's the name of my page. So the difference between, you can see this one's in quotation marks. The reason it's in quotation marks is it is an article contained on a website. It is not a independent source standing on its own. So the name of the item that's being contained goes in quotation marks. So since this page is being contained in a website, it goes in the name of it goes in quotation marks, and then you can see here this is italicized. So the name of the container, or in this case the website, would go in italics. So we'll go back here. Name of the website is Thimble. So we'll just type that in. And then the word thimble goes in italics. And you just have to make sure that you stop the italics so that the rest of your source citation isn't in italics. It's just the name of the website. All right. And then the next piece of information would be the date it was published. So let's go back and look. Yes, we have a date, February 17th, 2022. So we're going to insert the date, and I like to do it this way so that we don't have the extra comma. It just makes it a little confusing. And then a space, and then you can see there is the URL. So I'm just going to go back and connect the URL to this source citation, and then we're good. I'm going to take this out because that's confusing. Okay, so we're done. That is our source citation for this source. You're going to do the same thing for the rest of the sources, just based on what type of source it is. So like this one's a book, this one's a YouTube video, and this one's another web page. So we would just repeat the same process. So the one for the book, you just go back to Purdue OWL, scroll up to here. You can see there's a thing for books, basic format, one author, more than one author, two books, book by corporate author, book with no author. So sometimes there's stuff with no author. Okay, and then we've got a web page and a YouTube video, and we found this citation for YouTube video, which was in electronic sources. You just scroll down. Here is how to format a YouTube video. It gives you all the information you need and the model to be able to cite your YouTube video. So for the sake of time, I'm going to scroll down because I already did it for you. So here is what it looks like, what each of the citations looks like. I pre-formatted, or let's just say I pre-formatted the sources for you. So this is what it would look like. All of my sources are cited correctly. So the next thing we need to do is format the page itself, because you can see we've got some double spacing, some not double spaced. We've got some a hanging indent here and no hanging indent. So the way MLA works is that all of your source citations, they get a hanging indent, everything's double spaced, and they go in alphabetical order. They do not get numbered. There's no bullet points or anything like that. They just go in alphabetical order by whatever this first word is. A lot of times sources will say, or students will say, oh, it's by the last name, the author's last name. Well, we've got 3 sources here that don't have an author. So you have to go by whatever this first word or two is in the source. Particularly since this one and this one start with the first word, you've got to go to wherever it differentiates, so you can differentiate between the two. So the first thing we want to do is alphabetize our list. So daily comes before how to. And then we've got how do and training. So how do would come before how to. So all you have to do is highlight, cut that, paste it. Okay. Now our sources are cited, alphabetized in the order that we want them alphabetized. And then the next thing we need to do is do the line spacing and the hanging indent, which is really not that hard. You just have to, it just takes just a little bit of work. So we're going to highlight all of that to make sure that we've captured everything, and then go to our line spacing. You're going to have to find it on whatever version of Word that you're in. You'll have to find it so that, it's on. Mine's probably going to look a little different, but that's okay. So line spacing, we're going to go down here to line spacing options, and then do a couple of things. Right here under indentation where it says special, just change this to hanging. Make sure the spacing where it says spacing before and after both say 0, and then change this to double. Don't add a space between paragraphs of the same style, and click OK. And you can see it's mostly correct, but we've got this one stuck out to the side. So you just have to double check and make sure that your spacing's you don't have any extra spaces between the lines or anything. And then we just have to fix this one. So once again, I'm going to highlight everything just to make sure we get everything in there. So left margin, and then if we click on, you see on the ruler, and if you don't have the ruler's not showing on yours, you just go to view and click ruler, and it'll show it to you. And then you'll have these 2 things. So you're just going to have to fiddle with these. This is the top line. This is the bottom line. This little arrow at the top is the bottom line. And then this little square will move everything. And then, so you can see this one, and the hanging indent is because the information for this source citation is included in more than one line. So it's telling the reader that everything underneath this first line goes with this citation. And then when it comes back out here, this is another citation and another citation. So it makes it easy to read and know where the information goes. And so the other thing we want to make sure that we do is make sure that everything is on the same font and the same size. So we're going to go make sure we're all using the same font and everything is the same size. And there we go. Now our Works Cited page is formatted. All our citations are done. and formatted correctly. And the other thing I want to remind you is that since the Works Cited is on its own page, it gets a title, and the title is the only piece that gets centered. There's no extra spacing. It's just plain text. There's no extra spaces. It doesn't get bolded or underlined or italic or go in bigger font or anything like that. It's just a plain title. And then your sources just start underneath it. So your Works Cited page should look just like this, or very similar, whatever your citations are. So that's it. That's it for the Works Cited page. Remember, all your margins are 1 inch all the way around, and if you need to do that, mine's in layout under margins, and mine says normal, 1 inch all the way around. Sometimes you need to fiddle with that a little bit, but should be set at 1 inch. And it's just, and you can see this is all in one document, so you're not submitting separate documents when you go to submit it. Okay, I hope that helped. And if you have questions, you can always email me. I can help you out if you're having trouble figuring out how to format your citation, or need some help. In the next video, in a separate video, I'm gonna walk through doing the in-text citations from here. So now we can build our in-text citations because we've got the Works Cited page done. Okay. If you have any questions, let me know, and I hope this helped, and I will see you next week. Bye.